All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started as you're coming in. We will have another check-in at the end. So just getting started, this is the career exploration and data-driven planning. Let's see here. If you have not met with us before or have not come to a career chat, I just want to let you know, like, this is our advising team. So if you book an appointment with us, this is who you can meet with. And we offer different things and can cover any kind of career questions that you may have, depending on what you're going through within your journey or whatever specific questions that you have. And the QR code here just goes to our website. So again, this is our advising team. So, getting into career exploration, why is this important to us and why should we do it? Well, we want to start early so you can get in as much knowledge and exploring as you can, but it allows you to align your passions and skills with career paths. You may not know what you're interested in, and that's the whole point. So, you get to kind of explore that. What do you enjoy? What is something that is going to help you get to your goals? And it's also going to help you when you're career exploring, be more informed of decisions and about your future, whether that is about your first job, your career, or maybe if you want to pursue more education. It can help you make informed decisions for that. And then, of course, it increases your motivation. If you kind of know what you're working towards or something that you are really passionate about or really interested in, you're going to be motivated to achieve that goal. So, career exploration can kind of help you create your goals to help motivate you. And it also makes you think about what skills do I need to adapt or maybe add to my resume as you are exploring these different career paths or industries or companies. When you're looking at these positions, are there common, soft skills that these companies are looking for, or maybe some common technical skills? Are these things that maybe you could build on and do now while you're in school, or is these things maybe it come later in your career? These are things that you can start thinking about before it's time to start applying. So you can add those to your resume whenever you're ready to or can. And I added on some common myths and misconceptions here that we hear from different students. So, one is you need to have everything figured out about your future. Of course, that's not true. It's a process. It's not something that you make a one-time decision, and it's completely normal to change your mind or your path or create new goals. It's good to have new interest in things that you're going to learn about yourself within this process, and that's normal. You need to do this major because it makes the most money. That's not necessarily true. Long-term satisfaction does come more from the value of you and your position and also where you're happy and where you're interested, not because it makes more money, right? I mean, that's easy to say, but something else that a lot of students don't think about is just because an entry-level position may start higher in one degree does not mean that you can't make more money than that maybe 5 years from now within a different degree. Like the way you progress and maybe move up within your career, that looks different for every student. So it's not good to compare yourself. You can definitely be successful and make good money with whatever degree that you're choosing to pursue. So I just want you to keep that in mind. My major determines my career. Not necessarily, right? Like it provides a good foundation of that core knowledge of your degree, but your skills, your experiences, and your interest, that's what's going to shape your career. And then changing my mind means that I failed. A lot of students feel like just because they're changing their mind a couple times that they are behind and they're not doing the right things, they're not going to be successful. That's not true. Again, it's completely normal to not have everything figured out. You're going to explore different things and learn more about yourself. It's a sign of growth, and career paths are not straight lines. It is completely okay to kind of zigzag and go back and forth and find out what you truly enjoy and like learning about. So that could change one, two, multiple times. That's okay. So now that we know why it's important, the first place to start with career exploration is really kind of doing a little self-assessment here and reflecting on yourself. You need to start identifying what are your values? What are things that you are interested in? What are your strengths and what are your skills? What's going to align with that? I know Virginia Tech's really big with the Clifton strengths, so I did put mine on the bottom here. If you haven't done that already, explore and see what your strengths are. Something else to kind of keep in mind is strengths can change over time. I mean, you're building skills and you're getting into different environments and different situations with your experiences, so strengths can definitely change over time. But you'll start kind of thinking about, okay, do I like working with people or would I rather work independently? Do I enjoy working with technology and AI or maybe numbers or data? Maybe a mix of these things. That's completely fine, but kind of figure out, start thinking about what do you like working with. Another thing to think about are priorities. And what these are is data from NACE, which is the National Association of Colleges and Employers. And this data shows what new graduates are saying are extremely or very important to them as going into their careers. So in figure one, you'll see these are the attributes of the new graduates of what they're saying is important. So just to name the top few that they're saying are priorities is that these organizations are offering job stability, promoting healthy workplace culture, that they want friendly coworkers, and that they have good insurance or a benefits package. So that's just like the top four. And then in figure three, it's going to show the benefits that new graduates are saying is very important to them. Just a top few here: annual salary increases, employer paid medical insurance, maybe the company is going to match their 401k retirement program. Those are what from data from over the whole US, that's what new graduates are saying are important to them. So maybe you start thinking about that. What is important to me? Is it traveling? Is it the stability? Is it the culture? What's going to be important to you where you want to go work? Start thinking about those things. So now that we did self-assessment and all that, we can kind of go more into exploring these career paths within these degrees in business. So the best thing to do in exploring is do your research. There's different ways to research this. LinkedIn, using your alumni, informational interviews, which I'm going to touch on in a little bit. Company websites is a really great resource. Our first destination data, which I will go more in depth on if you're not familiar with it. Also, talk to your professors. A lot of our professors come from industry, so they have a lot of experience. Don't be afraid to ask questions, make connections. Maybe they have connections you could also reach out to. So use your professors in your research as well. A couple others I'm going to touch on is ONET and also Forage, which are really great. Um, and I also wanted to show Handshake since most students are using Handshake. This is just an example that I pulled a couple months ago. So this is what a business analyst position would look like. And with this company, I did choose Freddie Mac. Um, but the business analyst position, this is how you can explore through Handshake. Even if you're not actively applying to places or looking for an internship or a full-time position, start searching and looking at these positions. What are the positions? What are they looking for? What do they do? This is how you start learning these entry-level positions and maybe what you're going to be interested in. So just by the example here with the business analyst role, it shows you a position overview. It's going to show you their impact or kind of like who they are, what they are looking for, your impact, what are you going to be doing within that position, the basic qualifications they're looking for, and then keys to success in that role. So, they're going to be looking for communication skills and Microsoft Office skills, like those type of things. So these are ways to start researching if you're interested in certain roles or just learning to see what's out there. Use Handshake. It's great. LinkedIn and networking is also a really great way to research, and really networking is such an important aspect within the business world. And a lot of students are a little hesitant with LinkedIn and networking. I would say more so the younger students. It may be either they don't know how to use it correctly, or maybe they just don't want to get out of their comfort zone a little bit. That's completely fine and normal. I will definitely encourage you to get out of your comfort zone. Use use every resource that you can. So a good way with using LinkedIn is alumni. Hokies like to help Hokies. You can search on there. When you are searching companies or positions, there are filters on there. You can filter for the school and put Virginia Tech, and you can also do Pamplin College of Business. And that's a way to find people, send a connection, or if they are high up in their position, maybe you just follow them for a while, build your way up into a connection. That's completely fine. And maybe you reach out to them and say, hey, this is who I am. I would love to ask you some questions, which goes into the informational interviews. You can do that with alumni. You could do that with other professionals. Whether it's recruiters or company reps or maybe family, friends, and connections. But again, you reach out to them and say, hey, this is who I am. I saw that you are this position at this company. Am I actually really interested in that type of position or working at that company? Would you have time to maybe go over a few questions, or I would love to learn more from you? Whatever you want to say. Worst case, maybe they don't respond to you. That's okay. That's normal. Reach out to multiple people and hopefully you hear from one or two, or maybe even more than that. So reach out to as many people as you can. Worst thing is they don't respond. That's it. But the best case scenario is they do respond. You get to ask your questions, you get to learn from them, take notes. That could lead to mentorship, that could lead to referrals, that could lead to more connections. So get out of your comfort zone a little bit, have a conversation. It will help you in the long run. And the earlier you can start networking, the better. So if you can start your freshman and sophomore year, that's great. If you're a junior and senior and haven't started yet, that's fine. I would start right away. And of course, you can connect with others on LinkedIn as well, your peers, faculty, professors, whoever. Just connect with as many people as you can. Make sure they're meaningful, of course. It puts your name out there to where people can see you, and maybe you can see more opportunities and things that you could apply to through LinkedIn. And something else that I added up here with the QR code is our alumni chapters. What that is if you are going to be looking for an internship or a full-time position in specific areas, the alumni chapters, we have chapters all over the US. We have some that are international. If you know you're looking for a specific area, you can go to those chapters and they have different pages. They have LinkedIn's, they have websites, they have email contacts, and you reach out and again say, hey, this is who I am, like, would love to connect. And they're alumni. So definitely use that if you are looking to make some connections or not sure where to start with LinkedIn, maybe start with the alumni chapters. Going into a little bit more of LinkedIn, another way to use this to help you maybe find other connections or find people to reach out to, because maybe you don't have many connections yet, and that's okay. A good way to start is maybe you search a couple companies that you may be interested in. I pulled 3 here from mine to show you, hey, you can follow them. With PwC, you can see I have 5 connections that work there currently. Another cool way to use this is if you don't have any connections that work there, you can click the People tab and it will show mutual connections. And maybe you can see maybe one of your other connections are connected to someone else that works there. So that's another way to find other people to reach out to, make connections, and have conversations. So follow groups, try to find people that either work there or have worked there, and try to just reach out and have conversations. It will help you in the long run. Touching on company websites, I mean, not a ton to say here. I mean, it's really, you go on there and you explore. You get to see who are these companies? What do they do? What are their mission statements? You'll see these are just some random companies that I pulled, but they have who are we? What do we do? Career pages, about us, whatever. So this is a great way to either look at different careers because a lot of these companies do have early career pages on here, so more entry level. You can start exploring the titles within those companies, or you can just kind of explore the company that you may be interested in and see what else do you want to apply to them? Do you not? Do they come to Business Horizons? So definitely use company websites. And when you're applying, use company websites, use Handshake, use as many platforms as you can to try to get as many responses. Some platforms work better than others for different students, so try out different ones. Speaking about Business Horizons, I also wanted to touch on this. Now, I will say the QR code down here will go to our event page for the one that just happened this fall. We do have another one coming up in the spring, of course, so that it will be on Handshake under the event page. But this is a great way to explore careers as well. So if you go to the event page, click on the event, you will see there is an employers tab. That's going to list every employer that has registered to come to Business Horizons, and you can start seeing who should I talk to? Who are they again? In the middle here is the filter system on Handshake. I normally use when I'm searching with students, I usually use employment types and majors. Employment type, you can search whether internship, full-time, if there's something different, of course, you could click that. And then majors, you can click what you're looking for if you're a double major or whatever. That way you can see who's registered looking for internships within finance or whatever that you're looking for. But another way to use this is, yes, look for companies that you are actively looking for internships for, as an example. But maybe there's a company that you are interested in full time, but maybe they're not looking for interns this year. That's fine. Maybe you still go have a conversation with them, talk to them, ask your questions, see what kind of positions they have that may align with your goals and what you're looking for. These companies keep track of who is coming and talking with them and applying with them. So go talk to them as many times as you can, as many times as they're on campus. Most of the time, the same recruiters are coming for each company. So if you see a company that you know you're interested in full time and maybe they don't have an internship, go have the conversation. It's just going to help you in the long run. And also get their contact information. Us as career advisors, we cannot give out their personal information after the fact. So if you are at the career fairs, make sure you are either getting a business card or jotting down their name or their LinkedIn, connect with them. Reach back out to them. Thank you so much. Like, I enjoyed our conversation at Business Horizons, would love to connect again. Stay in touch with them. If you apply to something that maybe they asked you to apply to, make sure you tell them so they can go in and maybe pull that. So make sure that you are utilizing the career fairs, going in, asking questions. That's how you're going to learn, especially as a freshman and sophomore. That's how you learn about these companies and learn a lot of these positions. Talking face to face doesn't happen a ton on campus, so when you get the chance, take it. Um, First destination data, of course, is wonderful. Hopefully, most of you are familiar with it. If you're not, what this is the data that we get from the survey that we send our seniors their graduating semester, just asking, hey, do you have a job after graduation? The QR code is going to take you to the data for our 2024 graduates of Virginia Tech. And this is a really neat resource. I think it really helps students, whether you're struggling in the job search or maybe exploring different positions. It shows you, what are other students doing with the same degree that I'm getting? I don't know what's out there. I don't know what's entry level. This will help you explore that. So the second column in this data is the company that students are working for, and the third column is the job title they hold. So maybe you look through this and say, oh, I've never even heard of that company. Who are they? Look them up on Handshake, look them up on LinkedIn, or go to their direct website. And same thing with the job titles. Sometimes students tend to be a little vague when searching for positions, finance positions, marketing positions, accounting. This will give you some more job titles to maybe think about or help you in your search or whether you're exploring. So really neat resource here. Another way to use this, yes, scroll down to your major and see what students are doing right after graduation. But being open-minded about the industry is also really helpful and will open up more opportunities. So you could go down to any of the majors and just see the companies and see, do they have a finance position that you're interested in, or a cybersecurity position, or accounting? Every industry needs accounting and marketing and management. So just keep that in mind. Be open-minded on the industries. Just because you're finance does not mean you have to go to finance firms, accounting, cyber, you don't have to go to tech, just something to keep in mind. So this is a really neat resource to kind of help you see and explore different opportunities. ONET is also really neat. I will say it's more industry based, not necessarily specific titles, but the example that I have here is a financial risk specialist. And what it is when you type that in, it's going to show up a day in the life of what this person would do to their day-to-day activities. So over here, it shows you 5 of 30 tasks that you could expect in this type of position. And then also down here, it's showing a little bit of technology skills that you could possibly use. Something to think about is these positions could look different at different companies, but for the most part, these are general, what could you expect in this type of position? So this can kind of help you learn different jobs, I don't know if I'm interested in that, just kind of learning more. What does that position entail? Am I interested? Does that sound like something I would enjoy? So this is just another neat resource to help you explore that. Forage is actually one of my personal favorites. I think it's really neat. I love to share this with students, especially as a freshman and sophomore, and maybe you are exploring and not sure what you want to do, or maybe you are just trying to build your resume a little bit to have better conversations with recruiters. This is a great way. So what it is, it's completely free and it's job simulation. So when you go to the website, you have to build a little profile. But then you'll hover over Explore, you go down to job simulations, and it'll bring you to like this little home page that will show you the career interest drop down. You can honestly explore whatever you want to explore. But of course, if you're finance, banking and finance is going to be most relevant, accounting, consulting, there is security for cybersecurity, there's marketing, there's different ones. Um, and so, as the example that I chose was management consulting with PwC, it does say it's going to take about 4 to 5 hours. It is self-paced. You don't have to do it all in one sitting. You can start it and come back to it as needed, or maybe you have free time over a break, whatever works for you. But if you click into that simulation, it's going to break down, what are you going to learn? What are you going to practice within the simulation? It's going to show you, hey, it's self-paced. You're going to earn a certificate after you complete it, which you can add to your LinkedIn. And it's also going to show you how can you talk about this experience with recruiters or maybe in your interviews. And it will also give you a little summary to make some bullet points for your resume, because you can add this to your resume. So again, I think it's a really neat resource. It kind of gives you a little bit of relevant experience to add to your resume, but it helps you explore. A lot of students come in and say, I don't know what I want to do. I'm kind of thinking consulting, or maybe I'm thinking analyst, maybe I'm thinking this or that. This will help you explore that as well. You don't know until you actually get to do it. So this is a first step before an internship to help you see what you would like and what you would not like. Stepping Blocks is really cool. It's a little bit newer and I'm still learning and playing around with it, but it is the perfect research and exploration tool. And it empowers students with outcomes data. And so I showed you the first destination data for like our recent graduates. This pulls public data and records for all of Virginia Tech alumni. So it's a lot of data. That's the QR code for it, but I'm going to break it down a little bit more. The home page, after you build your little profile, is where you get to pick what you're interested in, and kind of see, like, it'll show you different videos and things to kind of learn about, just to see what you're interested in there. And you can always update those as you go. But if you go to the next tab, that's going to be personality. It does give you like a little test of 20 questions to kind of see, I gave the example down here of what it gave me for my personality. It kind of tries to show you what you would align well with within your career paths. It gives you some common job titles within those personalities to say, hey, don't know if you thought about this, but typically those personalities go well with maybe this type of job field or type of industry. Of course, you don't have to go with those, but they are common for that personality. It kind of just gets you thinking about it. You don't have to do the personality, but it is there. Getting more into the data side of it, if you go down to outcomes, I just think this is really cool. It's going to bring you to this page where it shows you the different categories here. You can click within the degree, the employer, you could do skills, or the different job category here. As the example, I just chose finance here, and it's going to show you it analyzed a little over 8,000 graduates from Virginia Tech. And these were some common job titles. And you can click around and play with it. It takes you to different places and different data. But this is the gist of kind of where you start with it and you explore from here. So really neat resource and a lot of data to look through. And you can explore through the skills, again, the employer or the degree. The next tab, which is Search 360, I think is really, really cool. I just did business analyst here to show, but you could do it by company or you could do it by a specific state, whatever that looks like for you. You could search by major. But I just chose business analyst, and what it will show you is graduates from Virginia Tech that achieved that job title and their path to get there. What did their path look like? A lot of students compare themselves to their friends and other people, and you don't need to compare yourself. Everyone's path is a little bit different, and you can reach the same goal, but maybe in different ways, and that's completely fine. So this kind of just gives you an idea, or maybe relief in saying, oh, okay, so it doesn't have to be a linear way to get here. It'll show you the degree that that student got, and then maybe their first job, internship, and it shows the red dot is the business analyst position and how they got there. So this will just break down different ways. Um, I think it's really neat, but again, it'll just help you explore that a little bit. Because a lot of students also will say, oh, well, I was only this on my resume and I don't have any experience. And, there's different ways to work up to what you're looking for, and your soft skills are very important. So just want you to keep that in mind. I also wanted to touch on specific industries. There are often times where students come in and say, okay, I'm really interested in going into the healthcare industry or sports or whatever. So I kind of wanted to touch on that and some different ones to think about if you haven't already, outside of firms and your typical business companies. Sports, healthcare, maybe the fashion industry, manufacturing, hospitality, of course, and also government. The best thing to do if you are interested in a specific industry is, again, do your research. You kind of need to know the different, like, where would you start in that industry to work your way up, and what are different paths to get to where you want to be. As an example of this is if you are interested in the sports industry, it is very common, like I'm talking big here, like if you're looking NFL or MLB or NBA, whatever, that usually you're going to start in sales and then you work your way up. Now, is that every single time? Not always. There are different situations, but typically that's where you're going to start in the sports industry. But that could look different in different industries. So do your research if you know you're interested in a specific type of industry. Another way to help you is join clubs that support that interest. Like going on the sports one again, we have a business sports club within Pamplin. Or if you're interested in fashion, there's probably a fashion club on campus somewhere. Join clubs that align those interests to help you get in front of different people for that industry. So what I mean by that is usually when you join clubs, a lot of clubs will bring in recruiters or company reps that give tips and advice and run workshops, and you can ask your questions and give them your resume. So that's another good way to get your foot in the door to that industry. Of course, network, network, and network. Talk to professionals within that industry as many times as you can. Again, it leads to referrals, mentorship. It just helps you get your foot in the door. So networking is really going to help you get into specific industries. Also, reach out and volunteer with different groups on campus. Like if they have positions and internships, yes, apply to those. If you can get paid, that's wonderful. If not, try to volunteer. That's another way to get your foot in the door and put that relevant industry and experience on your resume. So the example I have here again is with sports. Say that you want to go in sports and maybe you're a BIT student. Maybe you reach out to the softball team and say, hey, this is who I am. Like, do you need somebody to record specific statistics? I can run data and reports and volunteer your time and say, hey, I can try to do these projects for you. Try different sports, see what kind of sticks. Don't know if you'll hear back, but it's a way to start and help you again to get into that industry. I also wanted to touch on recruiting timelines. There's a lot of times that students will come in and say, oh, I didn't understand when companies were recruiting or when I needed to be applying. So I really wanted to go over this just so students are more aware. The prime time for recruiting on campus and in general for business is July through October. That is when you're going to see most of the positions open up for business companies or business positions. So you want to put in a high volume of applications during this time and stay consistent with it. Now, are there positions after that? Yes, absolutely. But the most of them and the bulk of them are going to be July through October, and that's just the best time to put in most of your applications. October to December is typically the time frame of when most students are getting interviews and offers. Now, again, can you hit these things outside of that time frame? Yes, of course. This is just when most of them are happening. Now, if you are putting in a lot of applications and you're not hearing absolutely anything back, reach out to us. Let us take a look at your resume. Let us take a look at, what positions are you applying to? What companies? Do we need to pivot? Do we need to look somewhere else? Can we make changes to your resume? Um, Come see us sooner rather than later so we can try to start getting you more um, responses in your applications. And then at the beginning of the year, it kind of starts over. You'll continue to apply. We'll have Business Horizons again. But new positions are going to start being posted around January and February. Companies are going to be evaluating what do we still need? What are our budgets? So continue to apply, stay consistent, try to put in 10 to 20 each week. The more, the better. And then March through May is like usually another span of interviews and offers. Again, if you are needing help, come to us sooner rather than later. Let us help you out and give you time to kind of turn it around. Don't come to us, of course, like the week before graduation. That's a tight spot. But this is the general recruiting timeline. Of course, if you have other questions, reach out to us, let us know. Another timeline that I just wanted to kind of go over and get you thinking about is what you should be doing maybe each year while you're in school. So, your freshman year, like a great thing to do during this time is start joining clubs and organizations. It's great for your resume, it's great for your career exploration. Start attending career fairs, even if you're not actively looking. You need to get a feel for the environment. You need to start having conversations, get in front of the recruiters as many times as you can, and you'll know what to expect and you'll feel more confident when it is time for you to actively apply. Start conducting those informational interviews, start building your resume, of course, and explore those career paths. Your sophomore year, great time. Make sure you're updating your resume and LinkedIn. Attend all recruiting activities. If there's a company in the atrium, go talk to them. Even if it's not a company you would expect to be interested in, you never know. It's a conversation. Connect with them. Start your networking if you haven't already. Again, the earlier the better. Start cleaning up your social medias. And maybe sophomore year, you can kind of start thinking about, okay, am I interested in certifications or trainings or going to conferences? Like, are these things I may be interested in? Start thinking about them. And then start thinking about your internships. If you're not getting one your sophomore summer, you need to be ready by your junior summer. Junior year, start applying to internships early. July to October is great. Use different job search engines, which I touched on earlier. Meet with career services early. Again, if you're having struggles or even if you just want to get prepared before you start applying and make sure you're doing everything right before kind of getting elbow deep in it, we can help you with that. Make sure you're utilizing your LinkedIn and again, be consistent. And then your senior year, continue to apply early. Meet with us by February if you don't have anything secured for after graduation. Of course, the sooner the better, but February, like give us some time so we can get you some better responses. And then, of course, fill out our first destination survey that we will be sending you. Okay, the next thing that I wanted to touch on that is really helpful within your career exploration, gaining some experience. What better way do you know if you like something than doing it? Of course, the other ways are to help you explore before internship time, but internships is really a great way to explore that. Internships, externships, completing projects is great. Shadowing, I touched on forage, clubs, on-campus involvement's great. The ones that we hadn't touched on yet that I'll go a little more in depth on is externships are really great. They are usually geared towards freshmen and sophomores. Instead of your typical 8 to 10 weeks, it's going to be like 1 to 3 days. So they're really short. You could probably do multiple of them. You could apply to different ones. And it's great to add to your resume. It's still experience. And a lot of students don't think of it like this, but it kind of puts you on an unofficial shortlist for those companies because your name is in their system. You've gone through their program. If you're interested in internship, it gives you a little bit of leverage there on when you're applying because you've already been in their externship program. So externships are great. It gives you an idea of the company, the culture, the positions, and it's just experience. And then micro internships, if you're not familiar with those, they are a little bit newer. They're becoming more common, but it's a website on Parker Dewey. What companies are doing is adding projects to this website. So they're different every week. So you kind of have to check in. And it's not, again, your typical 8 to 10 week internship. Instead, it's like 40 hours total. And it's a project. So you would still apply to complete it. It's a much quicker process. But once you get the go ahead to complete the project, you complete it, you get to add that to your resume, and then you send that back into the employer and you get paid for it. So it is a win-win situation. Um, that's just, again, that's on Parker Dewey, which is also listed on our website under, I think, job search engines. But that's another way to explore and just gain experience and add that to your resume as well. Final thoughts that I wanted to kind of just throw out there. Again, start early. Don't wait until your junior or senior year. Start thinking about it your freshman, sophomore year. If you have questions or struggles or not sure what to do, come talk to us. That's what we're here for. Get involved on campus, network, 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 and keep your resume updated. It's easier to update as you go rather than waiting a whole semester. Again, remain open-minded, whether it's job positions, if it's the industry, whatever it is, be open-minded. It only opens up more opportunities for you, and it does help you explore different career paths. And a couple other things I just want to throw out here for specific students to think about. If you are in investment banking recruits much earlier. So when I say the recruiting timeline is like July through October for business, most of the investment ones are earlier than that. So it's going to be like February, March, April for the following year. So it's going to be your 15 months earlier, not necessarily your 8, 9 months earlier. So just something to think about if you are going into investment. And then also accounting students, a lot of students have, I'm sure, are learning that you don't have to have the 150 credits anymore. To sit for the CPA. There are 3 different pathways to achieve that. So if you do have questions or want to explore that, come talk to us. We can talk that over with you. That is all I have about career exploration. I threw a ton of information at you guys and a lot of resources. If you have any questions, of course, you can put them in the chat or you can reach out to us, whatever works best for you.